If you're somebody who's been stuck in some bad habits, can't really kick them, or you just want to make some new good habits, I promise this video will give you like a whole new perspective of how to think about these things. It might be kind of boring, but if you stick through it, I promise it probably will actually help you a lot, or at least give you a new way of thinking about it. But anyways, I want to start it off by just giving you something to think about. But basically, rather than thinking about what you want to be, how you're going to get there, think about who you are and what you're committed to becoming. The thing that drives the best habits and that destroys the worst parts of who you are is your identity. You have to start with who. And with that in mind, think about now, who are you? And also think about who do you want to become. May even take 10 minutes, 5 minutes to actually think about it, because if you think about it, you'll understand how your identity and your habits kind of live together. It's kind of like a parasitic relationship almost. Your habits are what create your identity, and your identity is what keeps your habits going. And the reason I say you should think about that is because I want to ask, are your current habits in line with that best version of you? Because at the end of the day, if you can't kick those habits, you're not going to live to that best version of yourself. And if you do see that ideal best version of yourself, that's going to be one of the main driving factors that will help you kick the bad habits and create the good habits, because you have that insight. And if you're really committed to becoming that version of yourself, it won't be that hard to create and destroy the ones that you already have or the ones that you want. Now, not to give you like a little history lesson, but the word identity originally came from two different Latin words, one meaning being and the other one meaning repeatedness. So it literally means repeated beingness. Now, this is the main thing. If you can wrap your head around this, this will be the main thing that will help you with overcoming bad habits or even just creating good habits. And I promise, try to actually think about this whenever I say this. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. So if you're constantly doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing, you're reinforcing that to become a part of your identity. Let's say you're someone who smokes weed all the time, you're trying to quit smoking weed, but you keep doing it. You continuing to do it, you're associating your own identity with somebody who smokes weed. Somebody asks you, do you smoke? Oh yeah, I smoke. Like, that's just part of your identity now. It's part of who you are. The fact that you do it and you repeatedly do it, it's reinforcing that to your identity, and that's why you continue to do it, because you believe you're somebody who does it. And your mind believes it, so you can't shake it. You're just gonna keep doing it, even though you know you shouldn't be doing it. Your identity is literally what you repeatedly do and who you repeatedly are. Those two things make up your habits and just who you are as a person, because you're repeatedly doing them. Of course, you're gonna associate it with yourself. Like, I have things that I do that I know I shouldn't do, so they're stuck to me. But if I can register that and understand, okay, I don't want this to be part of my identity, I just stop doing them and change the way I view things and the way I do things, and eventually it'll stop. So that's the most interesting part. It's that you can make a shift in your identity by intentionally choosing to be a different person or just even do different things. If you want to be a leader, start leading. If you want to be a better friend, be a better friend. If you want to be an athlete, start a sport. Want to be a better father, start acting like one. All these things, just your actions are going to reinforce the identity to what it is. If you keep doing these things, you're never going to shake it. Which, I mean, that sounds kind of self-explanatory, but this is like the deeper meaning behind it. The reason you can't shake it is because you identify with it. And this kind of also goes into the whole thing of like, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, because just think about it, right? If you have a bunch of friends who, you know, they always smoke and drink on the weekends and you actively hang out with them, of course, you're probably going to be somebody who smokes and drinks because you're actively around it. You're going out and being around it. I've had periods in my life where I've had my 5 closest friends like that. And now my 5 closest friends are the complete opposite. They're all kind of really on their shit. You know, you pick up friends in the environment you go to. I picked up a lot of friends at my gym, my jiu-jitsu gym, just all these places, even like work, or I don't know, even my older friends who've just matured over time and have gone to different places. Whenever you actually structure who you're around, it changes so much because they're shaping your identity, because the things that they do, there's a high chance you're going to be doing it, especially repeatedly, because it's things that they enjoy. By just being around it, you're probably going to start enjoying it because you do it now, right? And it's something you're going to keep doing it because you want to hang out with your friends. You want that sense of camaraderie and brotherhood. So you're naturally going to just start doing these things with them. That's not really what this is about, but I'm just going to like into more detail of how big of a kind of cycle this is. It goes with everything. The more you repeatedly do something, it's going to become ingrained in who you are and your identity. Even just saying something and owning up to something repeatedly will make it part of your identity. Like, whenever I was younger, a big reason why I was so socially anxious whenever I was younger is because I would say it. Like, I would be like, yeah, I'm just really, I don't like around being a lot of people. I don't really know how to interact with people. It's just not something I can do. I would tell people that. I tell my close friends that. And me saying that, I'm like affirming it to myself, and it's reinforcing it as my identity. So it's something I couldn't shake. But that's off topic, but the main thing is we're all different. So you got to really think, who do you aspire to be? Because at the end of the day, the best version of you, like your ideal of who you want to be, is so different than my ideal version of who I want to be. Let's say the ideal version of me is just really commanding, I don't know, whatever my ideal version of me is, right? It's going to be so drastically different than yours. And the way I view it, the way I like to see it as, you might have a different perspective than me, but the most ideal and best version of myself is me. Like, I might not be there yet, but that is me. The things I should be doing to get me there are the habits that I need, because that's the person I should be. So right now, let's say I actually do struggle with getting out of bed. I have really bad ADHD. I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but that's like part of the reason why I struggle to get up. So for me, recently, I've been trying to make it a new habit to not be the guy who like waits till the last second to get out of bed. I want to get up a little bit early, stretching and stuff like that. It's just part of my goals. So I've made a little routine to help me get out of bed better. Now, the ideal version of myself is somebody who doesn't struggle with that. So currently, I'm not that person, but I want to be that person. So I'm trying to change that quality I have. I think the quality that I currently have of being somebody who struggles to get out of bed, that's not part of who Devin is, right? That's just not who Devin is. Even though I currently have that quality, the best version of me doesn't. So I'm just currently not living up to that ideal version of me. I'm not living up to myself, right? That's how I like to try to view it. If you have these bad habits, don't identify with it. Know you're not that person. You are the ideal version of yourself. You're just not working towards it. Now, the difference between me and a lot of people is that they're too lazy to work towards it, or they don't even think about working towards it. Maybe they're just not smart enough. That's the thing. Are you too lazy to be working towards those things? If you truly want to be that best version of yourself, you would find a way to try to get it out of your repeated cycle. If you repeatedly do it, you're reinforcing it. Now, if you do it here and there because you slip up, you're not repeatedly doing it. You're not doing it every day. You're not doing it whenever you would normally be doing it. So you're slowly breaking the cycle. But if you continue to just keep doing it, even though you know it's bad, you're just reinforcing it. And you hear what I'm saying? All you have to do is change the repeated behavior. Think about the things that you want yourself to have, or to be, the qualities that you want, and think about the qualities that you currently have that you don't want. And you have your roadmap there. How do I get to this? How do I attain this quality? Let me start doing these things. How do I get rid of this? Okay, let me figure out how I can stop, make a little routine to get away from this. That's literally all you need. You need those two things, and you create good habits, destroy bad habits. And to add on top of this, like the whole laziness or the whole discipline, all these things that go into your identity, the things that are reinforcing your current one, is that most people react based on emotion. Even men. Like you want to think women are more emotional, which they are, but men still react based on emotion whenever they're not thinking, whenever they're not present. So we want our identities to be the thing that drive our behavior rather than how we feel in the moment. You don't want your feelings to drive your behaviors. You want what you identify as to be the one that's driving you to do whatever you're doing. Most people follow this progression the majority of the time. Feelings, behavior, identities. Their feelings cause their behavior, so their behavior causes their identity. Oh, I don't feel like working out. It's so hard. Even though I know I look better, I don't want to do it. That's somebody who's using their feeling, well, I guess in that sense it'd be laziness or not wanting to do something hard, to reinforce the identity of somebody who looks like a slob and doesn't work out, right? Their feelings is what's leading to their overall identity. So they're obviously not going to be living up to who they want to be because they're living based off of their feelings. Letting your feelings drive your behaviors is the best way to not live up to your potential. If that's what you want, just keep doing that. If that's what you want, go ahead. Don't live up to your potential. Keep letting your feelings be what drives you. Now, what we should really be doing, the progression we should be following, is identity, behavior, then feelings. Now, somebody who navigates their life this way might be somebody who thinks, I've committed myself to being the person who works out and tries to look better, whether I feel like it or not. And interestingly enough, even though I didn't feel like doing it, I usually end up feeling great after doing the thing I used to avoid, while also slowly becoming the best version of myself. Like, why would you not think that way? Actually think about those two different point of views. Think about things in your life that you've done that you might have hated doing. You know it's such a good habit and it kind of sucks doing it, and then you get the courage, you worked it up and you ended up doing it. Think about how you felt after. You feel so fulfilled and achieved that you actually did it even though you didn't want to. The reason behind that is because you know you're taking a step towards the best version of yourself. You know that deep down, You were taking that step even though you didn't want to, and you pushed through it, and now you're slowly getting to where you could be, your potential. And that's how you know it's something you should be doing, because you genuinely feel fulfilled after, even though you didn't want to. It's something you didn't want to do, but you still feel fulfilled. Doesn't that say something about what the thing is and who you are? So basically, to recap the whole video, don't let your feelings drive your behaviors. Start with identifying who you want to be, start with your identity, and let that drive your behaviors. Become the person you can be. That's really all there is to it. I know it's a lot to take in and think about, and I truly believe this. I think this is the best way to go about getting rid of bad habits, creating good habits. If you can wrap your head around this, I feel like there's no reason somebody should be disagreeing. But got any value from this video? Appreciate you subscribe. Besides that, see you in the next one.